What have you seen anything in the past couple games with the players back to suggest maybe things are starting to turn? Maybe we could be going on like a positive direction. Maybe we could be getting our form back, or is it too early to tell still for you?
I do think it's too early to tell, to be honest. What I will say, because I'm always negative about these things, aren't I? So I want to start off with some positives. It definitely has made me think. There started to be rumblings of like certain players don't like Ange, or like the actual mood in amongst the squad was starting to deteriorate. Um, this has shown me that the players definitely still buy into Ange. When they're all fit and they can be rotated, they'll play Ange ball. Um, but yeah, to answer the question, it's too early to tell. I still think there were some serious flaws in all games that we've won, to be honest. Brentford, we didn't play like an Ange team, really. We just, they out XG'd us. We didn't do too well, and we can't forget about the two cup exits sandwiched in there. Man United, I was happy with, but at the same time, they should have scored. And then Ipswich, wow, like that first 10 minutes, I was like, oh my God. It's literally the most, I think it was more under the cost than any part of that Liverpool game that we lost 4-0, feels like. Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I'd say there's some definite positives, and whatever anyone says, 3 wins on the bounce is massive. Like even the teams at the top aren't on that at the moment, and it could be the start of good things. But
Josh, no one is on that currently. We're the only team in the league that is on that.
you are just
That's a
shameless.
fact. It's a fact. You said near the top. Just say no team in the league currently is on 3 wins. That's just a fact. You can
Oh
like it
my
or
God.
not.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'd say positive, but the actual not that I'm some tactical expert or anything, I'm not, but like
Soon
I'm
come.
seeing,
Tactical account coming.
yeah, it's coming, soon come. But I do see the same kind of problems. Do you know what I mean? I see the same issues. Some of that may be personnel. I think I've come full circle now. You remember, like at the start of Ange Ball, everyone was like, "He needs a proper six. He needs a proper six." And then I was like, "Oh, maybe we can get away with Bentancur Basuma." And I think, especially in like that Ipswich game, it's just proved you definitely need a proper controlling six. Do you know what I mean? And we missed that. But long story short, I'm more positive than I was 3 games ago. That's about as positive I'll say as I'll say.
Well, what about obviously we've spoken about it a lot, Ben, on the studio on the streams, but right now, how are you feeling about where we're potentially heading? What are you feeling about the current situation? There's been a lot of negativity for a while, but and obviously going out the cups as well has, that's taken a major hit to our prospects of what we can achieve this season. But we are on 3 wins in a row. We do have players coming back. We've got Europa League around the corner. Players seem to be coming back instead of going out, albeit, maybe players like other players, some players have gone out over the past couple of days, but it looks like we're getting more players back finally. Is there reasons to be, positive about the situation?
I mean, there's reasons to be a little bit more hopeful. We've shown that we can get, a string of results together, albeit, the cup games have been in between these 3 wins. But you're looking at the last two since the players have come back. The Ipswich game, the Man United game, it's like not something. I don't think we've learned too much in these last couple of games to think about, oh, yeah, we can be so positive and we can move forward and we can be really hopeful about going on a big run and winning the Europa League and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at the results that we got within the injury crisis, and we beat Man United in the Cup 4-3. We beat Southampton away 5-0 at the start of the injury crisis. And, you can probably make comparisons to the Ipswich away game and Man United at home game recently where, the results are pretty comparable, albeit the Southampton game was a lot more convincing than the Ipswich game was. But I think we did deserve to win against Manchester United, but we conceded a lot of chances. Against Ipswich, I think 4-1 definitely. I think the result definitely put a lot of gloss on the performance. So I don't think it was a 4-1 game, but I think we did deserve to win the game. But we could have been 2-3-0 down within the first 10, 15 minutes there. So I don't think there's too much to learn from these two games. I'm very much looking forward to these next 5 games, including the Europa League. And I think we're going to learn a lot, because we got Man City on Wednesday night, then we play Bournemouth, then we play Fulham, then we play Chelsea. So you're looking at Bournemouth and Fulham. Bournemouth obviously on a massive run at the moment, doing really well. I think Man City, and funnily enough, are actually beatable. I'm quite confident that we can go and get a result on Wednesday night. I know Josh ain't going to like me saying that. Josh ain't going to like me saying that. But Fulham away, we lost 3-0 there last year, and we don't have a good record of recent times there. So I think we're going to learn a lot about where this team is at over the next 4 games.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think if you're obviously in a negative mindset going we have been in the past.
Some say negative, Sam. Some say realistic.
Yeah. Well, I would say negative. If you've been in that negative mindset, and you've lost belief in the manager, which a lot of people have, I don't think the performances, I would say, over the last couple of games is going to convince anyone that we're back on the right path. But what I would say is, in terms of the stats and the numbers, what I was saying before, I was looking at the numbers that we were getting in terms of XG and XG against kind of thing before the injury crisis, and we were getting like about 2 XG per game for us and about 1 against us. During the injury crisis, it was about 2 against us and 1 for us, and the past 2 games has been around 2 for us and 1 against us. So if we're looking at that as a small sample size, there are indications that we are starting to get a bit more form, like we were playing essentially like we were maybe a bit before than we were during the injury crisis, I think it's fair to say. But I think when you look at the details of the game, Man United could have taken a point out of that game. They put away one of their chances. I would say Ipswich, I mean, apart from the first 10 minutes, they didn't really have much, to be honest. But they could have scored a couple of the goals. But apart from the Delap one right at the beginning, and then Philogene had the follow-up, they didn't really, I mean, none of them were really clear-cut opportunities. There would have been good goals, I think, if they would have scored.
Didn't we have similar XG to Ipswich over the 90 minutes?
They had 1.15. We had 1.7.
Exactly. So
yeah, so it's closer to 2 than 1, isn't it?
Then 1 point. They
have Sim's rounding up to
no 1.1, 1.5 or 1.15.
There's 1.15. We're 1.
Yeah, 1.5, Josh. 1.15.
Okay, but Sim, look, I'm sorry.
Half an XG is quite a bit in XG terms.
Okay, but I'm gonna have to call you out slightly, because we were also much closer to Man United in XG, and Brentford out XG'd us. So
I wasn't talking about the Brentford game. We hadn't had our players back then.
Okay. So just in these last 2 games, then we got similar XG to Man United. Yeah,
we had over 2, right? And United had 1.5, I think.
They had 2.23. We had 2.23. They had 1.52.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's like half an XG in it. But on each...
Yeah, but in our favour rather than against us, like it was during the injury crisis, is my point.
Yeah, but I'm trying to stop your propaganda, because you're saying we usually get 2 and they get 1, which is not how
that was the average. That was the average before the injury crisis.
Right.
And during the injury crisis, the average was around 2 against and 1 for. So it does seem to be changing slightly.
But Sim, you got to also look at it that Man United, I haven't checked Ipswich yet, but Man United are creating considerably less XG against all their other opponents.
Yeah. Very
that's
good
a fair point as well. But that's fair. But they have also gotten results against some better teams than us, not so long ago. So I think,
and I'd probably say Ipswich, I haven't looked, but Ipswich will probably be similar as well.
I don't know. I don't know what their XG is against other teams, but I think Ipswich was more a case of us being clinical than us being fantastic, especially in the second half. Like both teams were not doing much, and we just kind of stepped up again. I think that's due to the quality we had off the bench, which we just haven't had for a long while. And I think it makes a big difference. I think we are starting to see the difference just having a squad available and options to choose from can make within games. Whereas beforehand, we had very little options attacking wise or any wise really to influence the game. And I think what I would say is there is evidence to suggest that results could start to consistently improve. But I would say as well, I would say the performance-wise, it's not convincing anyone just yet that the ship is turned. I would think it's fair to say. But I guess the question mark is, we're after 3 wins in a row. We're still in 12th. We're still bottom half, kind of closing the gap a bit to the top half. But where's do you think our ceiling at the moment, Josh, for this season? Where would you say it is in terms of league position?
Probably, honestly, probably like 9th or something like that, because I just feel like, what are we off 8th right now? I need to look at the table.
9 points with a game in hand, though.
With a game in hand, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll just say 8th then. I'll be positive. I can't see us. I've heard some people, basically saying that we could potentially go for 5th or something like that. Well, you didn't say it like that, but you're saying it in jest, whatever. But like, I can't see us. The problem with that is, even though the points isn't as much as you think. So let's say we're 8 points off 4th if we beat City, or we're 8 points off 5th. The problem is there's too many people in between, too many teams in between, and you can't rely on all of them to drop points. So that's why I'd say 8th maximum. Four positions above, if you're just doing it positionally, is probably our ceiling, which I don't think 8th gets us Europe this year, does it?
It depends, I think, because I think I'm not 100% sure how it works, but I think 5th is getting a Champions League spot, right? Likely at the moment. So that means 6th goes to Europa, because usually it's 5th that goes to Europa. If Liverpool win the Carabao, that means 7th would be Conference League. So 7th would be Conference League. And if the FA Cup winner is from, like, let's say City finish in the top 4 and win the FA Cup, that means 8th would be Conference League and 6th and 7th would be Europa, I think. I think that's how it works. So 8th could be if one of the top teams wins the FA Cup.
That'd be a result, to be honest. Getting in the Conference League, and we'd have to win it, obviously. But I'd rather Europe than no Europe now that we've got this many youngsters. But overall, that's our ceiling, I'd say. The only other thing is obviously go and win the Europa League and get that Champions League spot.
Yeah, I think there's more chance of us actually going far, like past the semi-finals of the Europa League, than us going on a consistent run from now to the end of the season. You look at just the away games that we've got from now to the end of the season, right? We've got Fulham next, then Chelsea, then Wolves, then Liverpool, West Ham, and Villa. I mean, there's incredibly difficult games for us, and stadiums that we notoriously don't do well in. We look at Anfield. Villa Park, we've had some good results there, but they're a very good team. They'll probably beat us. West Ham, we always have trouble there. And Chelsea as well. And Fulham, we got battered there 3-0 last year. So unless we start picking up points at these kind of grounds, I just can't see us going higher than 8th or 9th in the league. I kind of agree with you. So I do think 8th is probably the ceiling this season. I agree. I think we'll probably do well to get there, but talking about going on a consistent run, I just can't see it. I really can't see it.
I think we would have to go on a consistent run to finish 8th, probably.
Yeah.
Really?
Probably. Well, how many? Because
if we smash
we're 9 points behind,
the end of the season, we can finish above 8th.
We're 9 points behind, right? So we'd probably how many points you probably need to finish 8th? If we're on 33, I don't know how many, but you'd have to go on a consistent run. I'm not saying win every game, but you'd have to be probably getting 2 points a game, I would say. You'd probably need 25 points or so
everyone above us, from Man City down, from Forest down, are really inconsistent. You can't back any of these teams to go on a big run.
And we play them, and they all play each other as well. So there's always opportunities to pick up points. So I do agree with that. I think, obviously, if we win if we would to finish in the top 6, you'd have to probably win every game from now to the end of the season, by and large, maybe with one defeat, and then you could probably make it. But unless we go on that kind of run, which is obviously title winning form, I don't think it's realistic to say we can finish there. Obviously, I've got a bet with Brains that we'll finish 8th or higher, so I'm going to have to back Tottenham finishing 8th. But I think
Josh,
we
you're not
can
going to call him out on that. You're not going to call him out for the footballing gods. What's going on?
I've got two bets with Brains. I've got 2 bets. One of them will win Europa League, and one of them will finish 8th or higher. So 20 quid each, 40 quid coming my way once we do both. I think the reason to be a bit optimistic is the fact that we are getting players back, and hopefully, I think the fact that we're getting these players back at this point in the season means that a lot of these players haven't actually played that much football, maybe compared to a lot of the teams above us. So maybe they'll be that bit fresher. I think the kind of shot on the arm it's going to give us and the mood change could mean an upswing. Whereas I think a lot of teams above us, like Chelsea, Bournemouth, Villa, who are other teams that are either in other European competition, like we are, to be fair, but also in European competition, but also going through their injury crisis right now, and they're starting to stutter quite a bit, and they're going through their bad patch. So if we do really have an uptick in form, just like when you looked in December, like Newcastle, I think at the beginning of December were like 12th. And then they won 5 games in a row, and just bam, put them back in that conversation of the top 4. So, obviously it was a lot. I think the league was a lot tighter back then. Obviously, we've really fallen away, but it was just an example of how different teams going through different periods, it can swing very quickly. But I think we've just gone too far, unfortunately, in our run of losses. I think we've just probably given ourselves too much to do to really put ourselves seriously in that European conversation. If we're serious about it, we have to go beat City, we have to go beat Bournemouth, and obviously we have to keep ourselves in the Europa League as well. So that means probably winning our next, 4, 5, 6 games. We're probably going on a run that sees us on 6 or 7 wins in a row, which we haven't really seen that kind of form since the first 10 games.